if you think about what you're eating when you're eating an animal, you're actually eating the sun, right? Because the sun is what causes grass to grow, photosynthesis. The animal eats that, the animal grows. Right. You consume the animal, so that sounds a little far-fetched and out there, but it's totally true.
Yeah. Well, here, I'll tell you a story. Whenever, back in a previous job that I had, one of the things we ended up with was a lot of shredded paper. We were in the document security business.
Gotcha.
And so we had bales and bales of this shredded paper. And this was up in Amarillo. And Amarillo in the general area has a lot of feedlots.
Yes, they do. You can smell it when you go through Amarillo, yeah.
That's right. So there's a lot of feedlots in the general area. And so I had some managers of those feedlots call me and say, hey, can we buy that paper off of you? And I said, what in the world do you want this paper for? I thought, well, it's got to be for like bedding or drying something, or something like that. And he said, no, we're going to take it and put a mineral pack with it, and then we'll put carbohydrates with it. And I'd already kind of learned at that point in time that one of the things they were doing was taking a lot of stale cookies and candies and feeding that to cattle, along with chicken manure. And then one of the things they do too is
candy?
The gluten. I wanted to say glucose. No, that wasn't right. Okay, so they use gluten. They put all that together, and then they mix that with paper as a fiber. And that was the feed that they were developing for cattle at that point in time. And so there wasn't anything in that that's natural and that belongs.
Mind-blowing.
It belongs in a calf's diet. So you have all these people with gluten sensitivities. Well, no one ever thinks about the fact is that their beef is actually fed gluten.
Yeah.
To help them to grow.
Right.
And then all that other crud that goes into them just to make them fat just for the sake of fat.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. And I guess that brings us naturally to the next step, which is, I mean, that's commonplace. That's what's in any fast food burger. That's what's in almost any protein that's in any restaurant, even a nice sit-down restaurant. I mean, that is scary, and I think people don't put two and two together, and maybe until their life's on the line, and that might be too dramatic, but at least until they're uncomfortable doing what they're doing, and it's starting to cause adverse reactions. And to think that that's been going on for a long, long time. Right? I mean, and who's regulating that?
Well, it's considered acceptable.
Right.
I mean, the people who come in and inspect the feeds and that kind of thing that the cattle eat, I mean, they're calling that an acceptable ration for that animal. I mean, think about this. It wasn't even just that. I mean, the paper that we were supposedly going to supply, we didn't do this deal, but the paper that they were supposedly going to supply, I mean, it had staples in it. It had, all the bindings and stuff that might be in a
glue.
Have all the glues. It have all of those dyes and stuff that aren't safe to put in your food, but they're fine to put on your paper. And so they're feeding all that kind of stuff to those animals, and I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's shocking, but it's not. Because we're talking about huge conglomerates that are running those.
That's right.
And it's all coming down to profits. Now, without profits, none of us can make the mortgage or any of that. Obviously, we're all in business to make money, provide for our families.